Okay, we are now
live.
live.
And we're live.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I'm stressed.
I'm gonna puke.
I'm gonna puke.
No, it's okay.
All right, hello, Mafa.
Hello.
Welcome to the first round of elections.
Now what?
Someone start with the questions. Or should we do introduction?
Yeah,
I think we all know.
introduction.
Yeah, I guess
for those
elections
who know
would be
us.
first, right?
Okay.
Francis,
You
you
can
want
go
to start
first.
us off? I can start if you don't want to.
Go.
Okay, I'll go. Okay. All right. Hi to everyone who's watching. I don't know if anyone's watching, but I'm Rio. I'm the I was the Mafa's vice president internal for 2018 and 2019. And I am a master's student at I'm getting my master's degree in HR at the Ohio State University. I've got one more year left of school, and yeah, that's me. Popcorn to Francis.
Hello, I am Francis. I am the past media master, now known as director
Hey,
of
Abby.
media. I am. Oh, hello. We're just starting off with introductions. But yeah, I'm a film major. I'm graduating this Sunday, which is exciting. Yeah, I'm super excited. That's Popcorn to Mary.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mary, co-outreach chair. I go to the University of Michigan, incoming senior, studying biology and health and society. Yay. Popcorn May.
I'm May or Megan. I go to University of Michigan Dearborn. I study mechanical and manufacturing engineering. I'm still currently, I guess, the events coordinator for Mafa Board 2018-2019. I think I said everything. Okay. Heather, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Heather. I'm the past treasurer for the Mafa board. I go to the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee with Francis and Jessica. I'm studying industrial engineering with a minor in business. So.
Yeah, very cool. I think we can start. Abby, are you still with us?
Wait, should we like give a rundown of like how elections
Yeah,
go?
let's do that.
That's what I was gonna do. I was just checking to see. Hey, Abby. Yeah. So just before we go into kind of you introducing yourself and your speech, I'll just provide a quick explanation for how this is going to run. Each candidate is going to be given a max of 5 minutes to present and speak about the positions. This is kind of like your chance to just have the floor and show why you'd be a good fit. And then we will have 5 minutes to ask questions afterwards. And we also will accept questions from folks that might be tuned in and that will send questions into us. Like, Francis, could you explain how folks, viewers might be able to send some questions in?
Yeah, so those who have questions, feel free to go to the Facebook public page. There's a button that says send a message, so go ahead and send those messages in. Heather and I will be looking at those, and then we'll be asking it. And again, all questions will be anonymous too.
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I was going to say, and during your time, again, you have 5 minutes for your actual like speech, and when you have the floor, then you have 5 minutes for questions. I'll be holding up some signs that say like 2 minutes left and 1 minute left, so then you know how much time you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in terms of voting, the voting party is going to be each Mafa member school as well as us. So every Mafa member school collectively will have 1 vote. And each one of our Mafa board members will have 2 votes. And basically, it's if you're running against another candidate, it's the majority wins. But in basically the case for all of this first round election, I think everyone's running unopposed right now. It's you just need to have a 2/3 majority vote from the voting party, and we'll send the results out in like about a week. But yeah, so that's kind of the general overview of it, Abby. So So I think we'd like to give you a chance to kind of introduce yourself, just quick, like school and position you're running for. And then once you give us the okay, we'll start your 5 minutes for your speech.
My intro was part of my speech, so
Okay. All right, well, we can get it started whenever you want. So just I'll start the timer whenever.
cool. Okay, well, hey everyone. My name is Abby Mendoza, and I'm running for the Vice President internal position for Mafa's Executive Board. I'm currently an incoming senior at Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis, or IUPUI for short. I plan to graduate in spring 2020 with a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in painting and minors in pre-art therapy, psychology, and design production. Okay. Honestly, I did not give much attention to my culture growing up because I was surrounded by different walks of life being raised in suburban Chicago. It was not until that culture was taken away and I attended a predominantly white school in a conservative state that I started to search for my people. I found them in the fall of my freshman year when I attended my first Filipino Student Association meeting. Because diversity is small on our campus, the cultural organizations lack support, funding, visibility, and priority for room reservations. Quite frankly, due to lack of guidance and experience in transitioning leadership, FSA was struggling when I first joined. During my sophomore year, I joined the executive board as the public relations officer, Mafa external rep, and undergraduate student government rep, and with my e-board at the time, we did a complete overhaul of the organization's structure. On campus, we collaborated with other cultural organizations, created more structured document keeping, such as having a Google Drive, and we brought back PCN. I also learned about Mafa, and as an external, I helped IUPUI gain increased support in the Midwest. This past year, I served as the president, where we implemented the start of our junior board intern program, the Ate Kuya Ading Family Program, and my board started a life hack series of programs that taught important skills and started conversations for topics such as consent and refusal, mental health, and taxes and turon. My plans for the Mafa intern program are to break it down into 3 different phases: recruitment, task management, and change management. By breaking it down into phases, I want to help the intern program start strong and end strong. I feel that the intern program could do better with engaging its members till the very end of the program, and I wanted to create a more structured timeline that includes showcasing what the interns learned at the end of the year and teaching them not only what leadership within Mafa looks like, but how to apply those skills within their own schools and organizations. Being in Mafa has taught me self-awareness regarding my identity as a Filipina American. Being an FSA and serving as a student leader has shown me the struggles small organizations have within the APITA community. As Vice President Internal, I hope to use my experience and creativity not only to help the Mafa member schools grow closer together, but have their executive boards get the resources they need. I would like the return of the group chats for each executive board position. For example, all the presidents would have their own chat so that each, for example, president has direct contact with each other and can have a support system to refer to. This is especially for the smaller and developing schools to have the contacts they need to be able to ask for help from the schools who have more experience or have been around longer. I also want to create support for each school starting within each state. I would like to work with the external coordinators on getting our Mafa reps and external officers to not only be active within their own schools, but reach out and be active in other schools within their state, creating social networks from school to school. For example, within Indiana, we have IUFAA, Purdue PFA, Notre Dame FASO, and IUPUI FSA. Some of us may know members from each school, but the general members may not know each other nearly as well as the active and executive board members. I would like to increase relations by starting Facebook groups for the general members of each school to join and see what events are going on at other schools, as well as promote their own events. Because distance between these schools may be smaller than state-to-state travel, members may have a taste of what it is like to travel to another school without journeying far. And that's pretty much it. I just want to thank everyone. And yeah.
Awesome. Great job. Great job, Abby. Yeah, I think we can go right into the Q&A section now. So we had prepared a few questions for you just based on kind of your application. I guess and I'll probably be handling most of them because I was this year's VPI. So I think the first question I had for you was in response to your question about building communication between Mafa member organizations. Like you mentioned that you wanted to implement a structured support system to ensure that each member school gets their time to kind of shine. Could you kind of explain more about what kind of structure you'd like to provide in terms of the communication between Mafa member orgs?
I wanted to break it down by state. I think I mentioned that both in my application and in my speech, primarily because our communication is through Facebook. I was thinking of doing Facebook groups where the external reps would be the admins and they would be the ones engaging the different members. This is basically for the general members of each group because I feel like it's usually only the e-board members that kind of know each other, but I want the general members to be a part of this too. So having like a Facebook group where everyone could see what's going on, and when things are posted, everyone, it's a social media kind of way to engage people.
Yeah, very cool. I think we have a couple more questions here. So could you maybe explain, I really liked some of the ideas you had about like the Mafa intern program, especially like your plan for recruitment and you know, showcasing what people did through the Mafa newsletter and the projects that each Mafa board member would give. I know that, you know, during that time of the year, it can be kind of like a really busy time for a lot of folks on Mafa board. So how do you plan to support the other Mafa board members to help plan and manage their projects? Because just, you know, taking into account that they have also responsibilities based on their roles as well.
Because I know personally, like I can get overwhelmed with things, I made sure that next school year for myself, I will not be holding any executive board positions outside of hopefully Mafa board, but also the only position I will be holding next year is philanthropy chair for my sorority. So otherwise, next year I'll hopefully be pretty free besides focusing on graduating. So I plan to do like bi-weekly check-ins, just like messaging each of the Mafa board members just to see like where they're going. Are they engaging their interns? Are they setting deadlines? Because I think just like checking in just by messages, that's not only like personal, but also like it's a good reminder for people.
Great. And I guess about the like the statewide things that you'd like to implement, kind of like that communication thing, the member, like the Facebook groups. Were you planning on doing anything else with like building collaboration between states in another way, or was it mostly a communication thing?
I think it's mostly a communication thing. I would love to learn about like what's going on in the FSAs outside of my school, but within my state. And I think that can get people to like travel more without having to travel far. And I believe in my application, talked about how I want the e-boards to have like their own, each position, like have their own chat as well. So not only like are the states getting engaged, but as a whole, like if the e-board members from each school like are having difficulty, like they have like not only the Mafa board, but like other e-boards to reach out to.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's a great idea. Opening up the rest of Mafa board, any of you guys have any questions you wanted to ask Abby? Looking pretty good. Okay. Well, in case we has anything come from the audience, the viewers?
We do not have any questions from viewers.
Okay. Well, I think we're kind of free to. You're kind of free to go, Abby, unless you had any other thing that you wanted to ask us. You're also free to ask questions for us as well. But yeah, other than that, I think we're good.
Yay.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot for coming, Abby.
Great job.
Great job on your speech.
Oh, can I ask a question?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you feel that you guys have had a successful year as Mafa's e-board this year?
That's a deep one.
Tough question. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
we're
someone else
reflecting on
can answer that.
elections.
I've been speaking about it. I don't know.
That topic of discussion is going to be.
I guess, does anyone want to
Go
say
ahead.
anything?
Yeah, go ahead, Jess. You're gonna leave like soon anyway.
I think in terms of being successful, that's all kind of like an individual feeling from whether or not we are a board, but like all of us feel differently. But I do believe that all of us came in with goals and were able to accomplish our goals. So in that aspect, I think that we were extremely successful. We not only grew as a board, but we gained like a really good friendship between all 9 of us. So I have no regrets. I love them all.
Yeah. Going off that, I don't have any regrets either. I think I'm really happy with the experiences that I've had on board. But I'm also recognizing, like there are times where I think, just I guess speaking from my personal experience, I would maybe wish I could have done a little bit better on some things. But I think that's part of it. I think we're all college students and we're all kind of learning and growing like still. And so I'm happy with the amount of learning that I was able to do, even when things didn't go as I had planned. So yeah, overall, really happy though. Any other questions for us, Abby?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, it was good seeing you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Abby. Bye-bye. Okay.
That got me so off guard. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That was a deep question.
Yeah. First one down. When's the next person scheduled to come?
8.
8 o'clock. Oh,
Good thing we have a lot of questions ready for everybody.
Okay.
Start.
Do we even have viewers right now? We're just talking to ourselves.
We do. We
Okay.
have quite a few viewers.
Okay.
All right, viewers, join us. Join in on this.
So for the people who are still watching us, if you don't want to, this is just gonna we're just gonna hang out basically until 8 p.m. But we have like interesting discussion questions that we've planned, so you're not just looking at our faces silent. Yeah.
Bro, we should have mukbang.
Y'all want to do some of the would you rathers, or we can start with the fun stuff. All right.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. The way I'm gonna do this is, can we change these to numbers? All right. Just pick a number. Pick a number. 1 to 10.
Who are you asking?
Yeah, who are you asking?
Wait, not pick a number 1 to 9.
Who are you asking?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm asking you, May, because you asked me. So, May.
Well, Francis said 5, so I'll.
All right,
so
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Would you rather have bad breath for the rest of your life, or be forbidden from eating anything other than cheese and crackers?
Technically, can't cheese also give you bad breath?
I think this is Megan's question, Heather. So, we can.
Well, you guys all know that I
be
hate
respectful
cheese.
of her response.
You guys all know that I hate cheese, so
Okay.
I guess I just rather have bad breath. I don't eat cheese. I hate cheese. I take cheese off pizza.
Okay.
I don't eat anything with cheese.
I feel
So
that.
that was a bad question.
Feel it. All right, well, you get to popcorn to somebody else now. You get to.
Okay, and feel free if anyone else wants to join in terms of board or anyone else on this discussion, fight for your side.
I mean,
because there's going to be some interesting ones.
I think the bad breath thing would suck, but I just can't be eating cheese and crackers forever.
Yeah.
It's not.
Wait, I want to do the one that I was talking about, the other one.
All right.
The one that I brought up. In terms of one
You
one
popcorned
breakfast
to
food.
someone.
I know. I'm gonna say the question first, and then I'll popcorn. One must go. One breakfast food must go. Spam, Filipino hot dogs, tocino, or longanisa. I'm doing that to Mary. Looks like she's thinking real hard, so Mary, you can do it. Fight for your side.
Oh gosh, I don't even
That's a
remember. Let me go back.
There's spam, Filipino hot dog, tocino, and longanisa.
Yeah.
Oh.
Either you can take this in either direction. Either one must go or one must stay.
Yeah.
Spam has to stay.
Spam's got to stay.
It's gotta stay,
For
guys.
sure.
Spam.
May looks
I don't
shit.
even know what casino
Well,
is.
what would go though?
Disappointed, actually.
What would go?
For me,
I gotta anger.
longanisa would go. I'm so sorry.
No way.
Thank you.
I love
No
longanisa.
way. That's the easy
Send
stay
like
for
all
me.
of them.
Bro, but longanisa burps throughout the day.
Well, you're the one that chose bad breath. Or I mean, you
Oh,
had to, it's not like it
what?
matters.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I know you get the dragon breath, but honestly, like, I'm perfectly happy just eating longanisa and then just staying in my house all day, not being around anyone, just being with my longanisa. But what would you leave? What would you leave, Mary? What would have to go? Because you definitely you're a spam fanatic.
I was also gonna say longanisa. I'll be honest. That has to leave.
I mean, that's fair.
Sorry.
You know, it's a valid choice, I guess. It's one of the choices.
Everyone's choice is a valid choice.
All right, you know, popcorn one. You can do the pick a number thing and then go down the list, or you can just choose one for someone to do.
Who, me?
Yeah, you get to choose. You're popcorning all year, Mary.
I'm sorry. 8.
Okay.
What?
Okay. Let's
You
see.
said to pick a number.
Oh.
Okay.
I thought.
All right, then pick someone to popcorn too.
Oh, I'm popcorning my co.
Sup,
Okay.
co.
All right, Jess. Would you rather have a shower that keeps you clean 7 days a week after one shower, or have a bed that gives you a full night's rest in 1 hour? Damn.
Oh, I would rather just take one shower and be clean.
What?
I'm okay. I can survive off like 2 hours of sleep. So like sleep doesn't mean much to me.
But like full night's rest in an
I'm okay.
hour.
I would rather just take one shower. You know what effort it is to take a shower? Like
Hour though, damn. Let's like.
nah. I'd rather just be clean.
All right. It's environmentally friendly.
Yeah, I'm
I
saving
guess.
the earth.
Anyone else want to chime in on this one? This is a pretty good one. Heather.
Oh, thank you. It's the one compliment you've given me about my would you rather questions.
Sorry. So you're gonna answer it, or?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. Which one?
Oh, I
Which one
would rather
you?
have the bed that gives me a full night's rest in 1 hour
I knew Heather would
because
say
I think that's the right choice.
when I sleep, my hair gets really weird, and I don't want to have to like be like, well, I mean, I'm clean. I don't want to waste water. So
it's fair.
there's a lot that behind the scenes about my hair, you guys.
Okay.
I guess.
Oh,
Hi,
Josh
Josh.
is here.
Hey guys,
What's up, Josh?
not much. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Feeling good. Unfortunately, we might have to cut short our would you rather discussion because Josh is
Oh,
here.
okay.
We can just get it started if you guys want.
Okay.
Yeah?
I'm gonna leave then. Sorry, Josh.
Okay.
No offense.
All right. Yeah.
Hi, Jessica.
Jess specifically said she wanted to leave before Josh, so
Yeah. It's just
Oh.
just
I have
couldn't.
to go.
Just didn't want to see it.
I'm just kidding. Good luck. See you later.
Right.
Bye.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. So Josh, do you have an introduction as part of your speech, or would you like us to give you a little bit of extra time to introduce yourself?
No, I have a little bit of an intro in my speech. So,
Okay. Sounds cool. May, are you ready with the time? Okay. Just whenever you're ready, Josh, you can start.
okay. All right. So, hi, my name is Joshua Russo. I'm currently a senior at the University of Michigan Dearborn, studying both mechanical engineering and bioengineering with a minor in psychology. 2 years ago, I had no Filipino organization on my campus or any tight-knit community like so many others. So a small group and I decided to start our own Filipino organization known as SAFA, the Student Association for Filipino Americans. I spent months drafting and finalizing a constitution and going to meetings with the university's activities director to learn of all the policies, rules, and regulations that come with starting a new organization. And after countless weeks and much work and dedication, SAFA finally came to fruition in January of 2018. For the remainder of the winter semester, I held the position of president, largely focusing on working with the current executive board on how to run the organization and what steps we should take to get our feet off the ground. I will admit, as an organization, we didn't accomplish much in those first few months, as this was a learning period for all of us at that time. However, in the end, I knew that my role was not to be president, and so when elections came around, I decided to use my skills and knowledge to run for treasurer. As treasurer for the 2018 and 2019 academic school year, I had much work to do as this was our first full academic year that SAFA would have been in existence. Fundraisers, sponsors, and events all required my attention and focus in some way or another, and I knew I had a lot of work to do, but this never deterred me. This position was demanding in that the university's policies were on my shoulder to enforce upon the organization, as I was the liaison between the two. From filling out forms to setting up fundraisers to sitting in meetings to making sure that all of our money was in check, there was never a dull moment, and I enjoyed every second of it. When it comes to being a treasurer, there's always the issue of tracking money. So in my time working in engineering sales and project management at Bosch, it taught me one very important thing, and it's the immense benefits to using Excel spreadsheets. I've learned the best ways to utilize the program to track and record budgets in a simple, clean, and easy to use format that will automatically generate data, graphs, charts to easily visualize and represent the past, current, and future budget trends of our organization. This tool has helped myself better track and record all of our organization's transactions, and it makes it easier for those who don't know all of the account history and finance to understand where the organization currently lies. Another one of my accomplishments as the treasurer of SAFA was in the time leading up to our first ever PCN. With only a few months to plan, fund, and execute, there was a lot of pressure on all of us to make this work. I spent countless hours contacting companies and organizations for sponsorships, setting up more ways to raise money, and actively checking and managing our budget to appropriately fund everything we needed. In only a short few months, I managed to bring in nearly $4,000 between fundraising and sponsors from our own university and outside organizations, such as the Council of Asian Pacific Americans, to many local restaurants and shops. After our PCN, which managed to raise over $1,500 for the Philippine American Community Center of Michigan, we still had just under $1,000 left in our account compared to the $50 we started the school year with. That's nearly a 2,000% increase within only 8 months. If I'm elected onto Mafa board as treasurer, one is to complete Mafa's 501c3 application. I know that this has been something Mafa has been striving for in the past, and having this completed will officially recognize Mafa as a federally tax-exempted nonprofit by the United States government. Another goal of mine if I'm elected is to put a stronger emphasis on giving back to the community that has helped us get to where we are today. There are plenty of organizations that could use our help, not just within Mafa, but across the entire world. With who we are and what we stand for with the Filipinx culture, this is the least we could do. But why is Mafa even important to me? Growing up, I never really was part of a large Filipino group, and I always struggled with my own mixed identity as I grew up in a primarily white demographic. In high school, I managed to find myself surrounded by a handful of Filipinos, much like myself, and having that bond and those connections made me realize what it was like to be part of this kind of community. That's why when I started college, I heard about what Mafa was and what they did. I knew I had to be part of it one way or another.
Great job, Josh. This is gonna start the Q&A portion of your election. So we're just gonna ask you a few questions.
Okay.
In your application, you mentioned that you raised over $4,000 as a treasurer of SAFA at UMich Dearborn. Could you explain how you raised those funds?
So a lot of it was just emailing various different companies and organizations. Um, the way I thought of it is if I email all these different people, someone's bound to say yes. Because at the absolute worst, they would just tell me, no, we can't support your organization. And at best, they would help fund some of our events or sponsor us. So I reached out to probably a good dozen different companies and a few local shops and restaurants, and some of them got back to me and were willing to specifically for our PCN to help fund that. I also went to other organizations that are a part of our university, and they were willing to reach out and help us as well.
Awesome. So if you were elected to this position, could you give some examples of how you would use the funds that you plan to raise throughout the year? For example, you mentioned that you would like to support some charitable orgs. Did you have any orgs in mind?
I don't necessarily have any organizations in mind right now. That's something I think as a community, everyone would have to agree on, because there's plenty of different things that you can donate to, ranging from charity work to mental health programs. One that we were looking at specifically for our PCN at first was Maya's organization. They're based out of Davao City, and they do a lot of work with physical, sexual, and emotionally abused children and women. So that could be one potential option.
Okay, awesome. Could you describe how you organize, plan, and prioritize your work?
So when it comes to planning and prioritizing, my first, I guess, point that I try to look at is what the deadlines for each of my tasks are. Usually whatever's coming up the closest will have the first priority, of course, as that would need the most attention. After that, it's a matter of what the event is for or what I'm trying to accomplish with it. So let's say there was a smaller event, in like a small workshop per se, and then the next event, maybe a week later, would be a PCN. Of course, my first priority would go to the smaller workshop, but that wouldn't require as much time, and I would try to devote more of my time afterwards towards like a PCN.
Okay, cool. So one last question that the board has prepared before we open it up to the viewers is, could you explain more about the challenges that you faced with starting SAFA? You mentioned in your speech that you had to follow guidelines provided by your school.
Yes. So our university is very strict on the policies that we have to follow. So in the weeks leading up to our PCN, we were actually informed of the wrong policies and rules that we were supposed to follow. So only a few days before our event were we told that we had to scrap a lot of our plans, and we had to kind of work around that in just a few last days leading to it, which was a bit stressful on all of us. But we all worked together, and we met constantly with our activities director and our cultural outreach chair to figure out the best plan, best way to kind of go around these challenges.
Awesome. So it looks like we don't have any questions from the Mafa. So if the board doesn't have any other questions, I think that concludes our elections for you, Josh.
All right, thank you.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much.
Yeah, you did a great job. Yeah. See you, Josh.
All right, bye guys.
Oh wait, did you have any questions for us? Sorry. Yeah.
No, I think I've asked them all previously, so a lot of them have been answered, but I'm sure if I have anything, I'll be sure to ask.
Okay, great.
All right,
Cool.
great. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Josh.
Bye, Josh.
Okay.
I think I forgot to mute during that last question, so I'm sorry if you heard me typing. I was like, it's talking a lot. I need to get on.
It's fine. I could still kind of hear.
Maybe if someone's asking questions, then someone else can take notes. But I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
I think
probably
that's
the
the only time that I'm going to be taking
Mhm.
that I was going to ask questions. So I think we're good.
All right, who's next on the? Who we got next?
I'm going to start messaging Colin.
Colin. Supposed to be here at 8:20. We could go ahead of schedule if that's if that's okay, right? Okay, maybe since we have a little bit more time, maybe we can get into the reflection questions. And since the last break section was kind of ridiculous. Okay. Francis, I don't think has been speaking too much.
Hello.
Do you want to reflect about one of these events, either summer LR or slur fact, winter LR or Wallur, or MFAS, also known as MFAS?
Well, let's see. I think something really memorable this year would probably have to be MFAS, because it was kind of the first time I actually got to be part of like the planning committee of an actual conference. So that was really cool. Also, when we brought the OGs back, that was awesome to hear all their stories and how Mafa was brought up. But also the big Mafa banner, that was a cool accomplishment as a director of media, because it's awesome to see your creations come to life. Yeah, it's pretty much MFAS. The other like slur, that was in Milwaukee. It was cool to have everyone here, show you guys the city. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. Should we popcorn?
Cool. I kind of have another one, or there. Yeah, no, you can popcorn. But I have a question if you don't want to pick one of them.
Let's popcorn May.
Okay, May.
About reflections?
Yeah. So we can do a for you, I think. Could you share kind of one new person you met or a conversation you had that kind of stood out to you as kind of just kind of a meaningful thing throughout your year, just like going around meeting people in Mafa?
Oh my gosh, yes. For my Milwaukee people, Ven is like one of my favorite people.
Yeah,
ever. I'm calling her right now.
I hope you're watching.
Man, so much. We like talk like every day now. Didn't even meet. I like met him at a Mafa event, and then he commented on one of my stories because I posted about Formula One. And then now we like just share our love for Formula One, and like we like live chat about like the races together. And I'm like, this is everything that I could live for. I was like, God, I love him so much. Yes, it's so meaningful to me because I think like I met him at, I think it was at Slur when I met him because we were in Milwaukee, and then like said hi here and there and whatever, and then like after following each other on social media, then we realized like, oh my God, we share this deeper love for something. It was so cool. Sorry, I had to fangirl. You guys can tell.
No,
Ben.
that's good. That's perfect. That's exactly what we were looking for.
Love meeting people and love connecting with them and like finding out like their little passions, because you never know, they share some weird things that you like too. Because I know literally nobody else that wants to fangirl with me about Formula One. So
you want to popcorn to someone else?
Yeah,
You
Heather.
can do the same question or one of the questions that we have listed.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. So you're gonna hear like my parents in the back. Oh, Heather, first impressions. Give the first impression of one person on this board.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'll give one of you, May, because you already gave one of me. So the first time that we had an encounter was MFAS 2007, 18, 17, 18. It's the one at in Michigan State.
Oh, 18. Wait.
Yes.
18.
That was like last year.
We were in a workshop. I wasn't supposed to be in that workshop because I read the room number wrong, but I was too shy to leave. So I just stayed there. And you were really well spoken. And I knew about you because I knew you were running, I think. And you were an intern, but we never spoken. But you were very well spoken. You were very well read. You were very articulate. And I was intimidated because I was like, wow, she's so smart. I like feel like I'll say something dumb in front of her. So I kept to myself.
She doesn't want.
I love you. Oh my
I
god.
love you too.
Just for everyone else about Heather, my first impression, I saw her and I was like, this girl is literally the cutest girl. Like, she didn't see me at MFAS 2017 at Marquette, but I was just like, I saw her with her little curly hair, she still had her perm.
Yeah.
I was like, this girl with glasses, she seems so quiet, but she's literally the cutest thing. And that's how that's how I knew her, but she didn't know me at all. But I just kept looking at her because I was like, she's such a cutie. Oh my god.
That's so nice.
So, yes.
Wow. So, do I choose someone else now?
Yeah, sure. You can choose any question too.
Really?
Yeah.
Mary, I'd like to hear you talk.
Hello.
I'd like to interview you.
Gosh.
What was your thoughts on this year's? I'll give you a choice. This year's Quack or this year's Wooler?
Well, which quack? Which one?
Yeah.
The one that we did most recently at MFAS.
Can I answer
Lit.
for both of them?
Oh, sure.
I'll start with Willer because that was earlier. I'm gonna be here. First thing I could think of is like, it was really exciting because it was an event here in UMich Ann Arbor, and it was just so fun to have y'all stay at my place and just have a bonding moment. My favorite memory was having Secret Santa here. That was great. And then what else about Willer? Oh my god, the snow. That was horrible, but I'm so thankful that a lot of our delegates still came despite the weather. And afterwards was TFCU hosted by UMich, so that was really fun. Getting to see Jeremy Passion, and then all the speakers. So those are my thoughts on what LR.
LR was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
So fun.
Quack for MFAS. I found that really inspiring to see the Mafa OGs come through, seeing or hearing about their stories, how they wanted to just come together and create this organization. And now we're 10 years later and we're still here. We're bigger than ever. It just like made me think of like, wow, I really want to give back to this community. Like when I'm like a grown adult and successful. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Those are great thoughts.
Popcorn to someone else.
You haven't gone, Rio.
I guess it's me. I guess so. What's the question?
You can ask any question.
Where are the reflection questions?
Anything on the list.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't even have to be a reflection question.
It could be a would you rather,
we could do
or a one must go.
I want to hear about the hardest challenge that you faced while on board this year.
Serious one. Okay. I think the Mafa intern program was probably the biggest challenge for me. I think it was like the biggest project that I had this year that I was really taking the lead on. I think it was a challenge just because my strengths, I think, are not like necessarily in like organization and planning things out, and so I think that pushed me to be more organized and kind of managing my time and stuff like that. That was something that I definitely like learned from there. But I just loved overall how it went, because each like workshop we had basically was just kind of like another, it felt totally different each time, because like different folks would be in there. Oh, hey, Sarah. And I think I just like learned a lot just from like trying to come up with ideas and trying to make it as engaging as I could over video chat. But yeah, it was kind of the biggest thing that I did, but it was really fun and really glad I did it. So Sarah, we're just kind of like hanging out, doing some like kind of like downtime questions. We're right now we're kind of like doing some like reflections. Oh, but yeah, Colin's here, so you'll
Colin.
get the gist of it when we finish Colin's part of the
I bet.
election, I guess, the interview.
Yeah, I look crazy. It's okay.
It's cool. It's cool. How you doing, Colin?
I'm really sick, but it's okay.
Oh, okay. Well, hope you're well enough to join us here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, just a quick run through. You'll be given 5 minutes to introduce yourself and give your speech, and then after that, we'll have 5 minutes to kind of ask questions of you. May is going to be holding up time cards, so just to kind of check, just see where you're at in terms of time for your speech.
Okay.
And then, yeah, basically you can start whenever you're ready, and we'll just start the timer, and then we'll ask you some questions. And then you'll have an opportunity to ask us questions after as well.
Great. Yeah, I'll just get started.
Cool.
So mostly for this speech, I just sort of wanted to run down the position-specific questions and get a little bit more in detail about some of the things I wanted to do this next year. So just kind of starting with the first one, just sort of about promoting cultural awareness. I did sort of detail my background a little bit with that, talking about, especially in the earlier part of the application, but this summer, currently right now, I'm doing an internship where I'm studying Philippine history, sort of about immigration to the United States imperialism in the Philippines, and sort of seeing how it affects sort of this larger scale question of like, how are Filipinos represented? And so essentially what I hope to take from this is sort of understand more about our roots as Filipinos and as people who are immigrants to this country within the last couple generations. And I'd like to take that into the idea of cultural awareness, sort of not forgetting our roots and where we come from. Additionally, later this summer, I'll be working at the University of Notre Dame to create media content for courses, sort of just producing either video or interactive programs in an internship at Notre Dame. And I'd like to take the skills that I learned in that and bring it into this position, sort of make more interactive, more digestible forms of like more interactive forms of media than just the blog. I think the blog is great, but I think there's a lot more we can do with it. It's kind of, I can get to some of more issues and then that I'd like to address with the blog in the next question. But I just like to take a lot of the skills that I'm learning this summer and sort of combine that with like my passion for cultural awareness. I haven't really had a huge chance to do a lot of cultural awareness stuff with VASA at my school yet, due to result as my position. But I do have a lot of experience sort of working in advocacy. I got to work on a film this past semester that was sort of destigmatizing the label of refugee. I've gotten to work on films about like what it means to be an Asian American. And I just like to extend sort of my experience creating media and working in advocacy through media to this position. And then the next question about goals for the Mafa blog next year. This is relatively flexible. I do really like the Mafa blog. I think it's an interesting piece of content that can keep people well informed, but a few of the issues I have with it are it's kind of hard to advertise. Just most of our reviews are done through the Facebook page, or most of our content is promoted through the Facebook page, and then having to go from the Facebook page to the Mafa website and then sort of navigate through that. Additionally, I think I'm looking at the page right now, but in the past month, we've had 12 posts or something, or I think 10 posts, which is due to the nature of everyone sort of doing their board reflections. Makes a lot of sense, but 2 weeks ago is when those started, and if I wanted to find something from before 2 weeks, I'd have to go through 8 posts. So I'd like to really do a lot of reorganization with the Mafa blog, just sort of categorize it. I talk about this, but either split it into sections that are sort of about advocacy or about board reflections or about like event recaps, just so it's easier to find the information that you want. I think that's a small change that can be made. It's not extremely hard, but I think to find that information now, but I think just making that process a lot easier and a lot more straightforward is something that can help traffic to the Mafa blog a lot, as well as keeping up with that produced content. I would like to make audio versions of blog posts, just because I think, or even video versions of blog posts, because I think sort of seeing a video on Facebook is a lot easier to digest information than it is to go and read a post, even if the post is a short 2-minute read. I think it's just a lot catchier. And I'd like to extend sort of my background with producing media content into sort of making the Mafa blog more digestible and more interactive. And then, so the third question is about sensitive issues. I believe I addressed this pretty well in sort of my application, so I won't talk too in depth about it. But I would really like to sort of the idea of addressing sensitive issues isn't something I necessarily want to shy away from. I think having these sort of sensitive discussions is really important for sort of understanding each other and sort of growing with each other within our culture. And so it's just sort of making sure there's a sense of respect there. I talk about how I've run sort of these personal narrative-based workshops at MFOS and FACT this year. And the number one rule in any of those is just to respect whatever anyone has to say, understand that you're
Colin,
not...
I think you're at your time now.
Okay, I can make
no,
more
it's
clarifications.
It's cool. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so Sarah, did you want to kind of run through the Q&A part? Okay, no, I can take the questions. Yeah, so basically, in your application, you stated that you'd like to maybe make some process improvements to the blog, and you also spoke a little bit more about it in your speech. Did you have any other things that weren't mentioned before that you could use that you plan to improve through it?
Overall, I think those are the two big ones. I would actually would like to ask that question at the end of this interview about sort of what returning members want and where you guys kind of want the direction to go. I believe like legacy as a board is sort of an important decision, and I don't want to just like completely change everything that happened this year. So I'd like to sort of get some more ideas for what kind of content you want to see in the Mafa blog and where you'd like to see the Mafa blog go from this year's board. But we can get to that at the end of the question and answer period.
Yeah, I also thought it was really interesting that you mentioned you're doing an internship about, regarding Filipino history. Did you kind of have any ideas of how you're going to implement that information? Because you said you wanted to, but did you have any?
Yeah. So one interesting thing that I've learned, not as a result of this internship, but through this past year, is why there are so many Filipino nurses, and it's sort of as a process of World War II and the U.S. establishing nursing schools in the Philippines. And I think that's really interesting because I've never really thought about why there's such a heavy population of nurses and why it's sort of within our legacy to be nurses. And so it kind of made me realize that we have a lot of deeper connections to our history than we realize, sort of tracing that back to World War II. Even so, right now I'm learning about sort of how Filipinos were represented in media in 1910. And so I think a lot of that can sort of carry over on sort of like stigmas about Filipinos now and where they are based in and where they come from.
Very cool. I guess I had another question, like kind of regarding some of those topics. I think managing these kind of tricky topics about, culture and where there's can be kind of like differing viewpoints. Do you have any experience kind of like managing tricky conversations like that? And kind of what is your like how do you typically, facilitate discussions about this type of stuff?
Yeah. So I haven't had a whole lot of like official experience, especially not with sort of these topics of being Filipino, just as it wasn't necessarily in the scope of my position this past year in FASA. But I have had the opportunity to sort of run, again, I'd like to bring up like FACT and MFOS workshops. Everyone's sort of coming in with a unique perspective. Some people might not necessarily agree on everything, and we all come from sort of different backgrounds. And then furthermore, like dealing with sensitive issues, sort of encouraging people to speak about their experiences while allowing them to only talk about their experiences, I think is sort of the best way to handle these difficult conversations. Is we can't necessarily, like in facilitating these types of discussions, I want to encourage the idea that there's a lot of different Filipino identities and everyone has sort of this valid experience, and nothing that I can say or nothing that you can say can necessarily speak for someone else. It's everyone sort of comes in with this like unique perspective, and if there's sort of a disagreement, it's more of a disagreeing on where you came from, not necessarily invalidating the other person's experience. And when handling these discussions, either through roundtables or just sort of like discussion posts, I want to really, really encourage that idea in sort of like a regulated space. Not allowing people to try and speak on other people's experiences is, I think, is really important to me.
Okay. Very cool. Since you're organizing these spaces, did you have any ideas of how we can reach a wider audience? Because I do know that typically the Mafa members page is kind of the biggest reach for Mafa board. How are you going to build interest in those other mediums?
Yeah, I've talked to Francis as well, sort of about his position as director of media, and he talks about how closely he worked with Sarah this year on sort of trying to promote that. And I would like to sort of continue on. It's essentially treating director of media as a co-chair and work just really heavily on sort of promoting these ideas before the fact to get people to participate, after the facts with whatever people are comfortable, to realize that there are benefits to these kinds of discussions. It's like if you miss one, then it's okay to try and check in on the next one.
Cool. And that concludes our Q&A section.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for answering our questions. Did you have any questions for us before you leave?
Yeah, just sort of the one question I had is, where do different members of this board, especially sort of the ones that are returning next year, but everyone is free to answer because I do believe in that legacy. What do you think, where do you want the Mafa blog to kind of go next year?
Do you want to take this one, Sarah?
Yeah. So I guess you kind of touched on revamping / reorganizing it. We kind of like started to bring the blog back to life this year, and I know there's like a lot more that you can do with it because it's such a creative platform. So I think like just with whatever you want to do with your media projects, and like creating like different categories of like blog posts will help people find the content they're most interested in like seeing, you know. And I also think it's kind of a big process for like getting more people to interact and like write for the blog, interact with blog posts would be something that I'd love to see.
Okay, great. Does anyone else want to input on that question? All right, great. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Colin. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Colin.
Okay. Hey, Randy. Randall.
Randall.
I don't know why I call you Randy. Yeah.
Randall, how was your exam?
It was my last anatomy exam.
Hey, you're done.
I'm done.
Are you done?
Yeah, that's my last one.
Oh man. Wow.
Yeah, I'm alive. How's everything?
Exciting stuff. It's been good. Elections have been going well. So
Nice.
we've kind of just been like doing like basically like hanging out and doing some like random discussion questions while we wait for the next candidate. I think Sandy's up next. She's scheduled to come on at like 7:40 CST. So yeah, we have some like questions. Did you guys want to go back to the the would you rathers?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Francis. Or wait. Well, let's start with Sarah first. Sarah, pick a number between 1 and 9. You're muted.
You're muted.
Nine.
Pick 9. That's already been done. Do a different one. Another number.
3.
3. 3, I think, is free. All right. Would you rather have to wear roller skates for your entire life or have to run at all times instead of walk?
Roller skates, duh.
Really? Okay.
That is fun as hell.
Like in the shower too? Like
I would suck at a concert or like a rave.
Nuh-uh. If you're in a mosh pit and you're like, you got roller skates on, everyone's dead. Okay. So
oh my god.
no one wants to like mess with you.
You're gonna be a nurse though. Like, what if you're doing something?
Well, she'd be able to get around quicker.
That you are moshing with people, so they consent to the getting hit with my roller skates.
Okay. Anyone else want to chime in on that question? We've got roller skates or running everywhere.
Okay,
is this like a Naruto run?
No, well,
like...
however, you just can't walk. You have to. You gotta run.
So, like, if I were to run all the time, would I ever get tired?
Yes. You just wouldn't be able to move.
Wait, but I can't even roller skate, so I can't even get around like that. I'm gonna have to run.
Well, the thing is, if it's on your feet the whole time, you'd probably get really good. You'd probably get like really good.
You can learn.
I'm bad at it. I'm gonna fall everywhere. I'll show up to every like meeting with like bruises all over.
Well, if you're born with roller skates on, it's just become natural to you.
Yeah, I feel like the roller skates might not be as bad as I'm thinking, because it'd be easier to get around, and no one would like question you because it's like, oh, I have to, I'm not weird. Like I just have to do it. I have to wear these roller skates. Like,
from class to class.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen Ben 10?
No. Oh yeah.
That
Ben
cartoon.
10.
There's like a roller skate monster. He did pretty good on it.
That'd be pretty sweet if I had that watch, like a Ben 10 watch.
It's not just be awkward if you're running everywhere. Like, slow down.
It would be, yeah. All right. Well, Randall, ready to go?
Pick
a number. Unless you want to answer this one.
3.
3. Pick a different number.
She just chose 3.
Let's do 7.
7. It's my lucky number. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, here we go. This is one I think Heather wrote this one. Would you rather have an extra finger on both hands or have 2 tongues?
Definitely 2 tongues.
Why?
Why?
Why 2 tongues?
Bro, double the ice cream. What do you mean?
Like
if you have an extra finger, like technically you can't really use it. Can you use it or no?
It's usable. Like,
would it help? Maybe
not really. I think it would take up more of your space. If you have 2 tongues, you would double the sensation.
It'd be like.
Ew.
Okay,
imagine shaking a hand like that.
It'd be like 2 thumbs. It'd be like 2 thumbs. Like.
You know how people like have split tongues?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like they could feel 2 of their tongues, like different sensations.
Yeah, but that's one tongue.
You feel 2 different things with the tongues?
Yeah, that's what people tell me.
But that's one tongue.
If I had double the tongue.
No, that's 2 tongues. That's 2 tongues.
If it's one tongue that's split, I'm talking 2 full-size tongues in your mouth.
Okay, imagine ice cream, you had the vanilla on one side and then chocolate on the other side.
Yeah, that'd be too big, though. You wouldn't even be able to talk.
You'd have a big mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like a mad. It'd be like the Snapchat, like the Snapchat filter. With like,
So the tongues aren't proportional to each other. They're like
yeah, I was thinking, you know,
they don't fit in your mouth.
yeah, I just think it would be two tongues like that.
What if you could choose if it's above each other or next to each other?
I would want next to each other.
If they're above, you're literally not gonna be able to breathe. Your tongues are gonna be blocking your throat.
You have a big mouth.
How would you even like pronounce words? Because our tongue is like our tongue.
Yeah, you're right.
You'd have a big throat.
So,
Or you could pronounce words that no one has ever. You could like make sounds that.
It would be a whole new language.
Could you make more sounds with that? Two tongues?
Could you speak two languages at once?
Ooh.
What? No.
I don't know about that.
you would need two lips then, or like
No,
like two
what
sets.
Let's just have two mouths.
What if they're independent of each other?
All right, two mouths. Two mouths. Would you rather have them side by side or one over the other?
I'm sorry to everyone watching on the live stream.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Sandy.
Hey, Sandy.
Hey, Sandy.
Right. Cool. So just so you know kind of what's going on, I'll kind of explain quickly the rules. Basically, you'll have 5 minutes to introduce yourself and give your speech on kind of like why you're fit for co-outreach. And then after that, we'll do a 5-minute Q&A section. To keep us up on time for both sections, actually, May is going to be holding up time cards, so like at 2 minutes and at 1 minute, just to make sure that we're kind of landing in that. And then at the end, we'll, so like for the Q&A part, we have some questions prepared for you. And then we also have some audience members, if they want to send in questions, they can also send in questions for you. And then at the end, you'll have an opportunity to ask us any questions that you might have. So,
awesome.
Cool. Whenever you're ready, you can just go ahead and start, and May will start keeping the time.
I guess I can go. Hello, my name is Sandy Amorado, and I am a rising senior at St. Louis University, majoring in psychology with a minor in change management, running for the position to be Mafa Board's 2019 to 20 co-outreach chair. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate this year's Mafa Board for the amazing year they had. And to those running today and in the next round, good luck. With that being said, I hope to follow in suit and be an asset to the next board. If you would have asked me if I was going to run again for board, my answer was a huge I don't know. I did not know if I had the capabilities to handle the position or deserve the place on the board. But now, with a little encouragement from some of my friends, I told myself, let's get this pundy style. So here, let me tell you why I would be a great candidate to be next year's co-outreach chair. Being a psychology and change management minor, I have acquired many skills such as communication and networking, which can help create better relationships and develop less divide between the groups. Also, besides my studies, I will also use my connections and lessons I have gained from being an EPIC ambassador to develop a bigger network for Mafa, and I hope to collaborate with outside resources regionally and nationally. For example, I want to be able to implement a Mafa service day during the Spirit Week, or just have a separate day for it. I know that this idea seems far-fetched because of the magnitude of Mafa, but I believe it's possible. For this day, I think it could bring the communities together, allow others to be more engaged, and collaborate with other organizations that work with Philippine ex-American youth. And throughout my years of being a Mafa member, I have been heavily involved. I joined a family and became a family head for it. I love my Guap fam. And from a head's perspective, I want to continue the Facebook Messenger or just a group chat like Jess and Mary use to efficiently and effectively check in with other heads and reps. The group chats were a great way to learn about the families and organizations that were having problems with engagement and how to help each other out. Furthermore, I've participated in the intern program and the leadership cohort for 2 years as an events intern in 2017 and as a co-outreach intern. And so being a co-outreach intern, I had the opportunity to work with the present co-outreach chairs. And with other interns, we were able to help them with Spirit Week and place the different applicants into the families. I was able to shadow the Mafa representatives meetings also and listen to what other organizations that were involved and how others wanted to be more involved. Engagement is a significant part of this role, and being one of the go-tos on the board is one of the reasons that drew me to run again. I think that the idea of this role is not just placing someone in a family or being the main liaison to the Mafa organization, but helping someone find their home. So I have an image of what this position entails and the dedication it's needed for it. I want to be able to help with the help and support of my co and the rest of the board to develop intentional relationships and friendships. Mafa may seem like an intimidating environment, but at the end of the day, our goal is to create an intentional, unified, and welcoming environment to those who join. For this upcoming school year, I will be taking 15 to 16 credit hours, volunteering, being the vice president of an organization on campus called Students Care, and continuing my work with the EPIC program. With all of these activities, I will make sure to uphold my duties if I am elected, to communicate effectively and prioritize my schedule accordingly. This role will not only challenge me as an individual, but it will allow me to improve the skills I have, hone in new ones, and kind of break out of my shell. I may be an extrovert at heart, but I still have my introverted moments. Mafa has played a major role in shaping the person I am today, and I want to be able to give back. So please elect me, Sandy Amorado, to be Mafa Board's 2019-20 Co-Outreach Chair. Thank you, and ooh-woos.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yay. Good job on your speech, Sandy.
Thank you.
Woo. I guess we'll go ahead and start with the questions. This first one is from Jessica. She had to leave to pick up her sister. But so outreach has historically been a position that holds up to 2 chairpersons. In your situation, you may be elected this round and have a co-chair be elected in the next round, whom you may or may not be close with. How would you go about working with someone you may not know very well? And if you are close with that person already, what measures would you take to make sure that the business and personal, business and personal, do not get intermixed while working with one another?
So this year, I was actually one of the showcase chairs for SLU FSA's showcase. So I had a co-chair. So I have experience working with someone that I wasn't really close to. So with that being said, I hope to create a friendship, but also a professional relationship, because at the end of the day, we have business to get done. And I also hope to have like a collaborative relationship where we can bounce ideas off of each other, and entrusting each other's instincts and mindsets, and just like being readily available for Mafa reps if they have like any questions, comments, or concerns, or just like for the members in general, and being like a resource for them, because at the end of the day, we're the 2 that like people would reach out to, and then we would be the connection to the board. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay. Going off of that, how would you keep you and your co accountable for certain tasks on board?
I think what I did with my co-chair, we had a list of things we had to do. And so what we did was we split that list up, and we would check in with each other weekly. We would have like weekly meetings with each other. And I know that my co may not be from my school, so maybe having like a Skype meeting, or like just like FaceTiming each other, like checking in on like how they're doing. Because what my co and I did, we had like with these check-in meetings, we checked in on how not only how our work was, but how we were like emotionally and mentally, and how that was going to play a role in that. So I think having like a weekly meeting checking in, or just like bi-weekly, depending like how busy we are, I think that would be really nice. So then we can like see each other face to face and see what each other's are doing.
Yeah, that's really great. And then next, can you elaborate how your experience in the EPIC program would benefit you as co-outreach chair?
Okay, so the EPIC program allowed me to work not only just as, allowed me to work with other ambassadors from different regions. So not just the Midwest, where I had 2 other ambassadors, and then we collaborated with Great Lakes region with Marissa Galan. She was VPE of University of Kentucky this year, so we were able to work with her. I think I would use the connections I have with Epic to work with outside organizations of outside of Mafa, so outside of the Midwest, to see like what they're doing and how we can improve that. So for instance, NWFASA, working with them and seeing like how they run their umbrella organization and how it can help us improve ours. And then maybe we can like sit in on their meetings and they can sit in on ours and see how that relationship can work out. And then like at the end of the day, create this like better like relationship and friendship with them.
That's very good. Did someone add this other question? Should I just ask that one? Okay. So as someone taking on lots of responsibilities, how do you plan on prioritizing your time and making sure that you don't get too overwhelmed?
So I actually had to work with that this year. I learned what like burnout was this year. So I live by a planner. So I put everything in the planner and to make sure that I do everything on that list and like prioritize like what's important and what I think is the least important. But also I was able to not only do all those activities, but also have a social life with that. So I learned to have a balance and to make sure to like take time for myself with that. And then if I feel overwhelmed, I'll ask my if they're feeling overwhelmed, maybe like we can like split up the work a bit lighter for us and then do baby steps instead of doing bigger steps. Yeah.
That's really good. Did anyone else have any questions on the board? Are there any questions from the general members? Okay. Oh, sorry. Well, I think if there aren't any more questions, I think you are free to go. If you have any,
yeah. Do you have any questions for us?
What was your biggest challenge this year, and then also what was the thing? What was something that you thought that was that went right for you guys this year? I guess you could say like your strong suit as a board, or just like as an individual.
You want to try it, Mary? Because it's co-outreach.
My biggest challenge. I think being on board in general, it was hard just to keep track of everyone because we don't see each other face to face. So that was like a big challenge that I had to overcome. And then I learned how to not be afraid of just communicating to the rest of the board and Jessica as well. So yeah, that was a big challenge of mine. I don't remember what the second question was.
It's okay. You're good.
Did anyone else want to answer that?
I think I'm all right. I think I answered a similar question earlier today. Yeah, is that all the questions you had for us, Sandy, or
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was good seeing you.
Thanks, Sandy.
Woo.
Bye. See you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Cool. One more left, right?
Just writing her sending her the message now.
Kayla at 9. Cool. We're gonna get back to the reflections, maybe.
Let's do it.
We'll give Sarah and Randall a chance to reflect. We'll start with Randall this time. What can you give us a first impression of one of the board members, like the first time you met one of us, and just kind of describe that?
Actually, I met Heather. My first impression was like she's gonna be super quiet and judgy. No offense, because Heather was very quiet and she just stared around all the time. So I was like, people are probably gonna judge me because I was talking too much or something. So then I was like, damn, I don't know if she's nice or not. So I'm just gonna try to keep my distance at first. But then after a while, Jessica was all like, oh, you should be Heather, this and that. And I met Heather, and she's really cool. So
Should I not be quiet as much?
no, it's overthinking. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, Sarah, you want to give us a first impression you have of somebody else? Everybody seems to be talking about Heather. That's not the first person to talk about Heather.
Heather's so popular.
People stuff.
Yeah, I'll do Rio. So Rio's kind of annoying.
What? When was the first time? When was this?
Stop making dad jokes. Oh wait, I guess this was like when we were first on board together.
Uh-huh.
No, the first time we met was at Heather's party.
Yep.
And I embarrassed myself.
That was fun. That was a good one. But we can talk about retreat too. We can talk about retreat.
I was like, oh no, now he thinks I'm crazy. Is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not annoying. You're just interesting.
You're not wrong. I've heard that before from other people, so
That you're interesting.
you're not wrong.
It's a good thing.
You have
I
the
really-
quotes in the quote book.
That's
What's
true.
up, Mafa?
Yes, that's true.
There's so much reverse irony when I talk to you. It's like, is he for real?
No, I feel that. Sometimes I just go along with it. I don't really know what I'm trying to do with the joke, and then sometimes I just go with it. So whatever.
It just
It's
escalates.
fine. It's fine. Okay. Do you want to popcorn to someone else, and then maybe I'll just throw another question?
Who hasn't gone?
Anyone? We've all kind of gone already.
Go, Francis.
Okay, go crazy,
again.
Francis. Do you want to do a would
So
you
what's the
rather, a one must go, or a reflection?
Let's do a one must go. We haven't done any of
One
those
must
in a
go.
while.
We haven't done a lot of that. Okay. Are you a Marvel fan?
Yes, I am.
Okay. One must go.
Watched Endgame twice.
I maybe hold off on the Endgame spoilers, but you can talk about anything else. So one must go. Captain America or Iron Man?
Oof.
Don't talk about Endgame.
I don't know. I don't think I was a big fan of Captain America, so I would say he can go. I liked Iron Man. I want to
Well,
see.
you weren't a big fan of Captain
I
America?
don't know. I just didn't get
Yeah.
into the
Chris
that
Evans?
trilogy.
Okay.
Iron Man was good. I watched all of them.
Yeah, I probably honestly might have to go with the same answer too, though. But man, that's a tough one. Anyone chime in on Marvel? Want to nerd out a little bit?
Where's my outing? Really, if you were here,
Nobody.
she would go off.
Yeah, I know some people that would go off. Well, let's see, popcorn or to something else if you want.
Okay, let's popcorn to. Let's do Randall again. He's interested.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So Randall, would you rather one must go or a reflection? The categories.
One must go.
One must go. Okay.
Right.
Are you a Harry Potter fan?
Yeah, I am.
Sort of.
What?
Okay.
Right.
We can do a food one. We can do a food one though. All right. One
All right.
must go. Spicy, sweet, salty, or sour.
Spicy.
Really?
Instantly spicy.
I thought you liked
I love
spicy.
But it kills the flavor for me because I don't like the taste, and it kills my appetite sometimes. Like for example, when I tried the thing like at B-Dubs, like I couldn't even taste the chicken. My tongue was just burning, and I was like, okay, this is not fun anymore. I started crying. Like,
Okay.
like a little hint of spice is great, but if you put too much spice, your food just becomes like you can't even taste the meat. You can't even taste anything. You just taste the spice, and it just kills my appetite because I came here to eat and try, like, taste the food, not burn my tongue. So I'd rather like take out spice.
Do you like the
that.
spicy ramen?
I tried it and it didn't go well. Like I didn't even try it. I took the chopsticks, dipped it in like the sort of sauce of it, and I just put it in my literally put it in my tongue, and I just got I was over it. I would drink like two water bottles.
Hi, Kayla.
Hi, Kayla.
Hey, Kayla.
Can you hear me?
There's a bit of an echo, but we can hear you.
Hi, Sam.
I can't.
Do you have like headphones that you might be able to use, or like with a microphone?
I don't have them on me right now. Hold on.
Okay.
Is this slightly better?
I think so. I mean, you guys think it's all right? I mean, there's a bit of an echo, but I mean, we can understand you, I think.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
My mom's calling. 1 second.
All right. So you're going to be given 5 minutes to kind of, say whatever you have prepared for us. And then in the 5 minutes to follow that, we have a Q&A section. For both of those times, May will be holding up cards. So if you want, maybe suggest just keeping an eye on May's screen. She'll hold it up at 2 minutes and 1 minute. And then, we have some questions prepared for you during that Q&A section. And then we'll open it up to any viewer questions that might come in. And then finally, you can ask us any questions you have before you leave. So,
Perfect.
yeah, if that's all clear for you, you can just go ahead and start with your speech, and May will start the time.
Okay. Just let me know if it gets a little bit too echoey and I'm like slowed down or something.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. Should I just start?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay. So hello. My name is Kayla Logan, a senior majoring in biology with a certificate in Southeast Asian Studies, approaching her final semester this upcoming fall at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. After serving on the Filipino American Student Organization's executive board for the past 3 years, I decided I had more to contribute to the Mafa and Greater Filipinx community. Therefore, I am taking the leap to run as your 2019-2020 Director of Media. I want to be your next Director of Media to uplift this Mafa familia that has provided me with endless resources. Being a member of FASO and Mafa has taught me countless leadership, social, and professional skills that I'll carry throughout the rest of my life. Not only this, but Mafa has given me lifelong friendships that I will endlessly treasure. If elected to Mafa board, I will pass on the experience I obtained from 3 years of involvement to the board and community. As an individual, I confidently believe I am equipped to continually provide and improve our amazing community. My goal is to capitalize on the skills I acquired through my various leadership positions throughout my academic career. I have an extensive history serving on executive boards and being an active leader within the APIDA and Mafa communities. For the past 3 years, I have served on FASO's executive board. Notably, I served as a co-president and Mafa External this recent academic year. I have also served 1 year as a Vietnamese Student Association's historian, the Asian American Student Union's multimedia intern, and twice participated in planning for the Asian Pacific Islander Desi American Heritage Month. In all these positions, I was tasked with multimedia management, social media outreach, and excelled in graphic design. Each position challenged my creative leadership skills and pushed me to new limits, which I'd like to continue as your Director of Media. These experiences make me confident in my ability to fulfill my duties on Mafa board. If elected Director of Media, I have many goals, campaigns, and ideas I would love to implement. As a continuation of the current Director of Media's work, I would like to further build upon our use of social media and the website. For our generation, social media such as Instagram is a major form of communication. I want to build upon our social media outreach by building our Instagram page with custom stories and regular posts. By implementing social media campaigns during integral times such as Filipinx American History Month, I also aim to integrate all members of the Mafa community. I also promise to continually update the website as a resource for all Mafa-affiliated organizations. My first focus as Director of Media will be to reintroduce the Mafa newsletter. This newsletter would highlight the accomplishments of individual schools and notable members of the Mafa and Greater APIDA community. To improve upon the previous newsletter, I would make this newsletter more graphic and image-based. The newsletter is social media friendly and Mafa members can view it by simply going on Snapchat or Instagram. My second main goal of the elected Director of Media is to create more video content. I would like to at least release semesterly recaps and vlogs for major conferences. I will communicate with the co-outreach chairs to acquire videos and media from the externals so that we can properly represent all schools and individuals in these videos. I have the technical skills to accomplish this goal as I pursue videography and editing recreationally. My last major goal is to increase awareness for major social issues that impact us as Filipinx Americans. With a platform as large as Mafa, we have the opportunity to share knowledge and resources to the entire community. To accomplish this, I will collaborate with the Secretary of Cultural Affairs to coordinate blog posts and social media posts. I believe that it is incredibly important to highlight these issues, even just through social media. If elected the 2019-2020 Director of Media, my goal is to build upon the foundation previous directors of media have set. I want to utilize social media and marketing to expand Mafa's horizons and properly capture the Filipinx American experience. The Mafa community is unique in its ability to unite hundreds of individuals with a common love for one culture. I want the We Are Mafa identity to be reoriented to encompass our extraordinary experience as Southeast Asian Americans in the Midwest. I confidently believe I can better unify the Mafa community with my social media goals. Mafa has been an integral part of my college experience. It has helped me discover my identity and inspire others to be proud of their beautiful heritage as well. Therefore, my overall priority is to overlook the growth and expansion of the Mafa community through the use of social media. If elected Director of Media, I promise to uphold the values and goals of my predecessors. I hope to make the upcoming year Mafa's best yet, socially and professionally. Again, my name is Kayla Logan. I hope you will consider me as Mafa's future Director of Media. Thank you for your time.
Great job, Kayla.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to our Q&A section. It's going to be facilitated by Francis.
All right, so first question that we have for you. What are your plans with keeping up with the Mafa website, and how do you intend on utilizing it for this position?
For the Mafa website, this is something I tried to look at a little bit into more. So it is made on Wix, and I was going to try to look into that a little bit more to see how I can improve that. But I feel like the orientation right now is really good. One thing I would try to improve is to maybe integrate the blog post a little bit more so that you could see it on the main page of the website. Because right now, to look at the blog post, you either have to be directed from Facebook or Instagram or wherever you get the link, or you have to go onto the website and then click the blog portion. But I feel like with the Secretary of Cultural Affairs emphasis on writing the blog posts, I would like that to have a greater emphasis on the website. So I will try to move that or make it have a larger emphasis on the website.
Okay, nice. Second question, what goals would you set for Mafa social media, and what makes a piece of social media content successful?
For Mafa social media, I would like to increase the overall interaction, specifically within Facebook, Instagram, and maybe Snapchat. I know like Instagram is probably one of the biggest social media platforms right now. I know my experience with my own student organizations, Instagram and Facebook are the major ways that we communicate with the general body and members of our community. So overall, I would like to increase the amount of followers that we get on each of these platforms, the amount of likes we have on our Facebook page, and hopefully the amount of interactions on the Instagram stories. And what was the second half of the question again?
What makes a piece of social media content successful?
I think there are like two things that can go into this, I guess. One would be the amount of interactions it has. If a lot of people are able to interact with it and it's very accessible to them, I would consider it very successful. At the same time, if it is a graphic, for example, if it's able to communicate a lot of information in like just a very like short graphic that's very eye-catching, that you can understand very easily, I think it's very successful in that way too.
Okay. Can you briefly explain how you will keep your fellow board members accountable, as well as Mafa members that you'll be working with when conducting social media campaigns, and how do you plan to organize those logistics?
So like just for the social media campaigns?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, so what I would plan to do is organize a calendar for these social media campaigns, and then using that calendar, that would be like the basis for what will be going on for the social media campaigns in general, and I would also outline rules with the executive board as well to make sure that they know what my regulations are for the social media use. I'd have them, I also outlined this in my application, I think. I would have them report to me if there's a post that they think is not qualified for to be posted on publicly on the Mafa page, and then I'll be the person to delete this myself because I feel like having other people in charge of regulating the posts can get a little bit messy. It's easier if I'm the only one directing this. But overall, I'll just make sure everyone on Mafa board knows the rules and knows what is allowed to be posted and what isn't.
Say there was a crisis on Mafa social media. How do you handle, manage, and resolve this crisis?
A crisis?
Mm-hmm. Like
can you define like what that would be?
Like, for example, if something Mafa did was like for social media that didn't go right, like a good example might be like infections or something like that. How would you manage that crisis or manage the way that we, like Mafa, can keep up with its like professional aspect?
I think one thing is that obviously since not all of Mafa board would be from the same school and we represent so many people, obviously the easiest way to communicate what Mafa's response is as an executive board would be through social media. I have seen various like letters and posts from Mafa board before. So if there was a crisis that Mafa board needed to address, I would collaborate most likely with the president or secretary of cultural affairs to release a statement or a letter on all social media platforms so it reaches as many people as possible, and hopefully put it on the website as well to communicate that. If there was something like circulating on social media, I would also see if I could directly talk to these people who are circulating this information and see and like discuss more with them, like where they are getting this from and what their beliefs were about the situation too.
All right, so I think we have one last question, right?
Or we might be out of time, I think.
Without time, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I guess we can open it up to the members. Do you guys have any questions, or the board? Do you guys have any questions for Kayla about Director of Media?
I guess if we have more time a little bit, a question I had would be, you said you wanted to create more video content. Were you planning to do that by yourself, and if you or with other people? And if you, I was wondering if you had any ideas, if you plan to incorporate other folks into that effort, like how would you engage those volunteers or other Mafa board members?
I think overall, I plan to release, I would like to do monthly videos, but I feel like that might be unrealistic given that there's not always content every month, but at least a major video for each semester and each conference. I would do most of the video collecting myself, but I would also reach out to Mafa board and also collaborate with the co-outreach teams to get videos from the Mafa externals, to see if I can get videos from their schools and their events. And in our second semester, we will also have the interns. So I will see if I can have the interns help me record videos. For first semester, I would like to see if I could edit the videos myself. But for second semester, also with the interns, I would see if they could help me edit and use that as a teaching experience for them.
Very cool. Cool. Did you have any questions for us before you leave?
Yeah, actually. So this is just out of curiosity, but I know Mafa recently had its 10-year anniversary. So as Mafa's most current board, where do you see Mafa in the next 10 years? And what do you think this upcoming board can do to bring us one step closer to that goal?
Oh, this would have been a great one for Summer if she was here.
That's a great question.
I could take it.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I could take it. Or Mary, go ahead.
Well, for like the past 10 years, like we really wanted to get that 501c3, and we still haven't gotten it. So I think that's one thing for these like coming 10 years. And then another thing is like we started the alumni program, but I wish like we'll be able to continue doing that.
Yeah, I think I can speak maybe more about the alumni thing. Just one piece of feedback I think we got after MFAS when we invited some of the older Mafa board people. I think they were looking for a bit more engagement with alumni, just reaching out to alumni and creating support for them and connecting them with current Mafa members. We've actually laid some, as a board, we've laid some groundwork for that we'd like to present to the incoming board. But I think that's one thing that a lot of us feel pretty strongly about, especially as some of us are kind of like moving on and graduating. I mean, I know personally I'd love to see more support with more connection with alumni, and also the more adult kind of like older Filipino organizations that Mafa has collaborated with in the past. So I think just the more we collaborate, the more power and strength that we have as a community. Yeah, there's a few things that stand out to me.
Thank you.
But did you have any other questions?
That's really it. If you don't have any more questions for me.
Okay. Well, yeah, Kayla, thanks for coming. Thanks for explaining a little bit more about why you wanted this position. And
thank you.
Yeah, you're kind of free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kayla.
See you, Kayla. All right. That's it, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's it. Wow,
All right.
first round.
Wow.
Did someone explain how voting and everything's gonna work?
So you want to take this off the air, Francis?
Yeah, so pretty much voting, let's see. So each voting party will consist of 1 vote per member school and 2 votes per Mafa executive board. So majority of the voting party must cast a vote in order to institute a question. A simple majority vote will decide the outcome of the election in cases where candidates are running unopposed. They must gain at least 2/3 majority vote from the voting party to be elected. So I'll be posting the poll to the Mafa members tonight, and then we'll have until, I believe we talked about Sunday, but we'll have for sure dates for that for you guys to all vote.
Yeah.
And then make sure you guys get those in. You can email those votes to us.
Yeah, and that would be to the Mafa member schools. So the way we envision this is each member school would decide as a school or as an executive board, and hopefully it would be, you know, what we're thinking it'll be the coming board, because I know that a lot of boards are just recently elected. So you basically decide who you'd like to, you know, work with throughout the year. So you'd have 1 vote as a member school. But yeah, I think that's it. Just be on the lookout for Francis's communication to you, your Mafa member schools. Then we'll decide and we'll announce the first round next week, and then we'll get into round 2. So there are a lot of vacancies still on board. So if you're thinking about it, you know, just apply, just do it. If you're thinking about it, just do it. Why not?
Reach out to us if you have questions.
For sure. Okay, well, yeah, that's it.
That concludes it. All right,
Oh, wait, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to leave or if we're going offline.